Hello again, guys. God, my hair is horrific. I've just had a shower. I've just come home from work a little while back. Um, I've had a shower. My hair looks greasy, actually, but fuck it, whatever. So I haven't done an update in quite a while now. This is now just gone about 2 years since my microdiscectomy with undercutting facetectomy. So if you're new to this playlist, then and you haven't been following along, then what that is I had two herniated discs, one at L4, one at L5S1. The L4 did manage to heal itself, but the L5S1 was severely impinging on the S1 nerve root, which is root that the root that controls the right leg. So it's the sciatic nerve essentially. So obviously I had extreme pain down my right side. I had numbness from about this level all the way down to my foot, um, and yeah, just basically severe pain. I was like waking up crying. That level of sort of pain. So yeah, obviously the previous updates, like as I've said in previous videos, the surgery went well. I recovered very well. I've been quite healthy ever since, but I thought I'd make a 2 year update, and this will probably just be my final update because I don't have anything more to say after this, really. So it's now been 2 years. I believe in my 1 year video, I said that I was back to work full time and I'd been sort of lightly exercising and things like that. So that was all true at that point. I did still, however, have some residual recovery to do. I wouldn't say pain, but I had recovery. It's kind of hard to explain, but I could almost feel like a sort of like a tightness here in the scar. So this is my surgical scar. If you can see, if it's even visible, I don't know. It was there somewhere, maybe a bit lower. I'm not going to expose you to that. I'm sure nobody wants to see that. But yeah, essentially, I had almost like a sort of like a tightness in the scar. It was almost like there was still some scar tissue that was like being broken up over time. So I wouldn't say I had pain. I had incidences of pain where maybe I'd do something a bit stupid, or I'd jerk funny, or maybe bend over a bit too far carrying something, idiot things, and I might have like a little bit of a twinge in the scar. But other than that, I was basically back to full activities, more or less. Or so I thought. Gross hair in my mouth. So I thought I was back to full activities, which I essentially was. But now it's been 2 years. I can tell you, I wasn't capable of what I'm capable of now, which is everything. I can pretty much do anything. Excuse my house, by the way. It's very messy at the minute. I got a lot of crap everywhere. But yeah, so I am fully back to all activities now. There's essentially zero restrictions. The only restrictions I put on myself are ones I self-impose. So it's just really just not doing stupid things. Like I don't pick up ridiculously heavy items. I don't jump off really high things. Just like normal stuff you wouldn't do to avoid hurting your back. Obviously, I'm a little more conscious than the average person would be, but uh, yeah, generally like I have no restrictions. I managed to get back in the gym properly last year. I went to the gym 5 days a week for 8 months without any breaks, like maybe one day off for an appointment or something. Basically, I didn't quit or not go at all. I went solidly for 8 months. I got to a stage where I was able to do muscle ups, if you know what that is. So that's like you've got like a normal pull up. A muscle up is when you do a pull up and then you get on top of the bar and you push yourself up, which is quite a tough exercise, especially if you've had a back issue, back surgery. Like me pre-surgery, there's zero chance in hell I would ever have got that and achieved that. So getting to muscle ups was something I didn't even think possible after surgery, but I've done that. I've managed to bench press just under 100 kilograms, which is pretty respectable for most people. It's not a heavy lift. I'm not like a bodybuilder or anything, but it's a good lift. So I'm picking up decent weights. I'm doing full activities. The only thing I haven't actually got back to is running because I still don't like the idea of constant impact exercises on my lower back. But that's just me. I'm pretty confident I could go for a run. I could go run a 5K. Might be limited by my terrible lungs, but other than that, like full activity is not an issue. I'm back to work plastering full time, properly. I'd said I was back to work full time in my previous video, the year post surgery update, which was true, but I was still sort of at like a kind of reduced level. Which again, at that time, I thought I thought wasn't the case. Excuse me, but to be totally honest, looking back, I was still being very careful, and I wasn't doing like the stuff I do now. Which what I do now is just everything I would have done like way before injury. I'm carrying heavy bags on my shoulders. I'm climbing up and down scaffolds. I'm plastering all day. If you know anything about plastering, you know it's hard physical work. Um, so, if you're recovering from surgery, or you're hoping to get surgery, or maybe you're booked in, or maybe you've just had the surgery and you're worried about the steps ahead, go through my previous videos in this playlist. You'll see me physically improve throughout that time, apart from my hair, which is always shit in every video. But I lost a lot of weight. I got healthier. My beard's filled out a little bit, which is nice. That's unrelated, um, but yeah, generally speaking, I've got healthier, happier, stronger the whole way along. I recovered quite well myself. I did have quite, I wouldn't say an easy time, but I had a relatively easy recovery myself. I had a very good surgeon. My pain management was good. I didn't have to take painkillers. I think it was like 2 or 3 days. I think 3 days after surgery. I can't remember. I'd have to look back. But I think about 3 days after surgery, I stopped taking all painkillers. I was walking pretty much straight away. Found out as soon as I started walking, I had a toe injury after a while, and it turns out I was wearing size 8 shoes for like 7 or 8 years, but I'm actually a size 10. So you know, so I had to throw out all my shoes, get new shoes. So that probably contributed to having a back injury in the first place, of wearing massively inappropriate shoes. But who knew? I didn't know my feet were a 10. So, but yeah, other than that, everything was good. Um, if you're waiting to have the surgery or whatever, or you're worried about having it, if you need it, and in my experience, I would recommend the surgery wholeheartedly. As long as obviously you have a good surgeon who knows what they're doing. Um, I don't know how I check that up as such, but if you're able to find out if your surgeon's actually good, then great, go ahead. My personal experience would reflect, you know, a positive vibe for surgery. Like, it worked for me. Might not necessarily work for everyone, obviously. I'm not a doctor, I can't recommend exactly, but based on my own experience, it was a very good experience for me. Expensive, but obviously I had help with that financially, because at the time I couldn't work for 2 years, so my family helped me out with the money side because I had to go private. Um, but if you can afford it, or you have help, or maybe you're getting a good spot on the NHS list. The reason I had to go private is because the NHS waiting list was 9 or 12 months, something like that. And if I'd waited that long, I think I would have lost all control of that leg. I might have had cauda equina. The nerve impingement was severe at the time. I could not have waited another year. So luckily, I had a nice enough family to help me out. So I understand that's not the same for everyone. Um, but stay the course, be strong. I know you're in hell. I really sympathise if you're sitting there with sciatica right now, because it's probably the worst pain it is the worst pain I've ever been in. I've been in various situations, dislocated my shoulder, I've had cancer, I've had worse things. This was worse than having cancer, objectively speaking. And it wasn't some weak cancer I had. I had a huge hole cut out of my chest. So I know what I know what I'm comparing it to. But sciatica was genuinely worse. What else would I say? Yeah, just if you're thinking about surgery and your doctor agrees that it's worth going down that route, don't be afraid of it, because the alternative is living with pain forever. So it's like, yeah, there are risks to surgery, but the risk of not having surgery is just living with shit for the rest of your life. So, worth it for me, hopefully worth it for you. If you are recovering right now, stick to your no bending, lifting, or twisting. Definitely stick to that. Very important. Make sure you're walking, getting up and about. Even if you're not capable of walking long distances, just walk to the fridge. Walk to the toilet. But just make sure you're moving as much as you can, within reason. Don't go, going for a sprint or anything like that. But yeah, look after yourself. Take the recovery slow. I Now, looking back, I've said in the past that I thought I was fully healed, but I wasn't. I think now I am. After the 2 year point, which is something my surgeon had said to me. He said it takes about probably 2 years for a full recovery, and it's been over 2 years now. It was 2 years in January. I think it was January 17th or 18th. I had the surgery 2 years ago. Um, And now it's been 2 years, I can actually physically feel like there's no more healing needed. I'm back to full activity. So over that 2 year period, if a year's gone by and you're thinking, oh, I want to get back in the gym, blah, blah, blah. If you feel like there's any risk that you're going to hurt yourself in the gym, or your scar still feels like I can't explain this. You'll understand it when you've had it. If you have the scar, if there feels like there's still like some tightness and some like friction in that scar, if that makes sense, then take it easy. Like, what's 2 years of your life not going to the gym but still walking and stuff, versus like re-injuring yourself because you went too hard, and then you have to spend the next 10 years fucking dying, taking opioid medications, frying your liver and kidneys, and generally just having a shit time. It's worth taking it slow, man or woman. just go slow. That's all I can say. Take the recovery seriously, because you don't want this to happen again. And if it happens again, you could be talking about fusions and things like that. Your surgery is going to progressively get worse the more often you injure this. If you have another disc prolapse, how much disc are you going to have left? So, you know, take it very slow. But I wish you all the best. I wish you all luck with what you're doing. I hope it all works out for you. Obviously, like I said, this will be my last video on the subject. I may post about, I've got some other health issues. You can probably see all these boxes here. So I've got to take injections for some stuff. I'm still debating whether I want to talk about that, because it's a very stigmatized illness that people seem to judge massively. And, I'm a relatively open book, but I'm still reeling from being stigmatized about it, even by the NHS themselves. So I may or may not discuss that, but I do have a lot to say on that matter. So I will probably do another playlist, but when I'm ready to do that, when I'm ready to talk about that illness. But yeah, as I said, I'll stop waffling. Good luck.